What is the mean?
You add all of them up and then you divide it by the number of words.
Yes, what's that called? It starts with an A. The average. So the mean is the average of all the sum of the data. So if you look at our data, we're going to go ahead and find the average of that. You may want to use your calculator for it. So we're going to add all of those numbers up and divide by how many there are. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's 14 numbers. So go ahead and do that in your calculator. Add them all up. And you'll divide by 14. And that will give us our mean or our average. Five 5.3?
Or no, 5.4.
Okay, yeah, we'll say 5.4. You should be getting 5.4 for your average. Anybody not get 5.4? Let's put our phones away. Headphones away. Okay. All right, the median. The median is what? The middle number. Okay, what is really important when you're finding the median? They have to be in order. Are our numbers in order? No, they are not. So let's go ahead and put those in order. All right, just double check your numbers. Make sure that you have 14 of them. Okay, and then to find the middle, we just cross them off, one at the beginning, one at the end, until we find the middle number. Okay, but in this case, we don't have one middle number because we have an even amount, right? We have 14 numbers. So when you have an even amount, there are two that are in the middle. Does anybody remember what we do to find the median?
You add them together and divide it.
Add them together, divide by 2. Find the average. Okay, find the average in the middle. So what's in between 4 and 6? 5. So 5 is going to be our median. Okay, the mode is the one that happens most often, which would be what? 4. Because 4 happens 4 times. It's the only one that happens 4 times. Questions, issues, concerns? Okay. So percentiles. You guys probably talked about percentiles before. Percentiles they kind of help us figure out categories in our data sets. So we have different quartiles. Like the first quartile, that is the 25th percentile. Right, 25th percentile. What that means is that if a number, okay, is our first quartile number, our Q1 is what I call it. Okay, that means that 25% of the data, whatever data we're talking about, falls at or below whatever that number is for our Q1. Falls at or below whatever that is. Okay, the second quartile is our 50th percentile. Okay, also known as your median. So when you find the median, it's the same thing as your Q3 number. Okay, Q3 is the 75th. Meaning that 75% of our data will fall at or below whatever that value is. Okay, this will make more sense when we do word problems with it. Raise your hand if you have had this before, if you've done this before. Okay. right, so we're going to practice finding all of our quartiles with these data sets. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to find a median. And median is the same thing as which quartile? It's the same one. Which one? It says it here.
Oh, it's in it.
Quartile 2. Okay. So quartile 2, we're going to find first. So to find your median, you just cross out first and last until you find the middle number. Okay, you might want to do light markings on your numbers so that you can still see them. Okay, it looks like here we have double in the middle. Okay, but they're both 8. So what does that make our median? An 8. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line between them. Did you guys not get that? You got 1 8. I got 9 on both sides.
Yeah, I got this one too.
Yeah. All right, maybe try again. Maybe like when you finish, you didn't mark off like the last one. Okay, so once we have that, we know between 8 and 8 is 8. So that's going to be our Q2. Is 8. Okay, for the sake of notes, I'm going to go ahead and erase this guy here. Okay, to find Q1, we do the exact same thing, but we only do it with this middle part. Or the middle part, the first part. Okay, halfway between 7 and 8 is 7.5. Okay, or you can do 7 plus 8 and divide by 2. Okay, now I'm going to do my right-hand side, and that'll give me my Q3. Halfway between 8 and 8. So, something that you need to remember, when you're doing this and you have 2 numbers in the middle when you're finding your median, you use those 2 numbers for the right and the left side, your Q1 and your Q3. The next one's going to be a little bit different. Okay, this one has an odd number, so when we cross these out, you have a middle number. I'm going to show you a special part about this. Okay, you should get a middle number there with 9 on each side crossed out. So that means our Q2 is 7. Now, when we do our Q1 and our Q3, it's important. Cross this guy out. You're not going to use him. So once you know that that's your median, cross out that middle number. That only happens when you have odd, okay, and you pick out that middle number. If you do it like we did on this first one, you have to use those for Q1 and Q3. Okay, so now we're going to do a Q1 and Q3. You should get 5 for Q1. And you should get 8 for Q2. We okay on that? All right, so when we do these for kind of real life situations, our minimum, that's going to be our lowest number in our data set. Lowest number in the data set. Okay, Q1, again, that's the 25th percentile. Okay, what's Q2? What percentile? 50th, good. What is the other name for quartile 2? Starts with an M. Median. Also our median. What percentile is Q3? 75th percentile. Okay, and our maximum, that's our highest number in our data set. I feel like this is a cover video, but I'm going to go over it before we do the actual example. Let's hear it all together. Okay, questions? Great. So, here's our data set. The first thing you need to look at, is it in order? No, it's not in order. So let's go ahead and put it in order. Okay, there should be 11 numbers, so make sure that those are in order. Okay, once you have them in order, find quartile 2 first, which is your median. Don't worry about the explanation part. We're going to do that together. I want you to try to fill in these boxes. Okay, so go ahead and do the min, the max, and quartile 2. Get those in there. Do you agree with me? Okay. So if you didn't get the right number for quartile 2, here's a quick trick. Make sure that you crossed out 5 on the left side and 5 on the right side. If you didn't, that just means that your lines were off a little bit. That'll kind of help. Okay. Quartile 2. How do we find quartile 2 again? Do the same thing, but with this side right here. Remember, 6 has already been used. We're not going to use that. Okay, so we're going to cross out 0, 6, 1, and 4. So 2 is our quartile 1. 2 is our quartile 1. And then quartile 3, same thing, but on the right hand side. And that will be 9. You're good so far? Alright, so let's do explanation. Okay, obviously, minimum, the lowest number is 0. We don't really have a context. We're not working with like a word problem here that has details. So we'll just say the lowest number is 0. Okay, our quartile 1, that's our 25th percentile. So what that means is that 25% of the numbers in our data set are at or below 2. See if you can make this sentence for Q2. That's our 50th percentile. Okay, you should have that 50% of the numbers are at or below 6. Because it's 50th percentile, our Q2 was 6. So it's 50% of the numbers are at or below 6. Okay, the rest of them, 75th percentile, 75% of the numbers are at or below 9. And then obviously the max are high numbers. All right, so let's do it. We're going to talk about something called range and interquartile range. Raise your hand if you've done interquartile range before. Okay, all right, a couple of you. All right, so our range, if we just talk about regular range, it's your maximum minus your minimum. Okay, so what was our max in our previous question? 15. And what was our minimum? 0. That would mean our range is 15. 15 minus 0, 15. Okay, IQR stands for interquartile range. You can just say IQR. You don't have to worry about knowing interquartile range. How to say that. We find the IQR by doing our Q3 minus our Q1. I can't put it all on the line, but it's Q3 minus Q1. What was our Q3 from our previous example? 9, and what was our Q1? 2. So 9 minus 2 gives us 7. That's our IQR. Okay, and I'm going to kind of guide you through and remind you how to find IQR, how to find range. Okay, you'll kind of have the guidance, and then eventually you'll just know those if you don't already know that. We good on that? Okay. All right. So the reason that we do IQR is because sometimes in our data we have outliers. We've looked at them on scatter plots. Now we're going to talk about how to find them algebraically. So if we have an outlier that's in our lower bound, meaning we have, if you look at our data set, okay, we would have a lower bound number over here that's an outlier. Okay? When we find upper bound, it's going to be bigger than our lowest, one of our lower numbers. Okay? So to find our lower bound, we do our Q1. What was our Q1 number? 2. Okay, minus 1.5 times our IQR, which was what? 7. Okay, now you need your calculator. Go ahead and put that into your calculator. You should be getting negative 8.5. Okay, so what we do is we look at our data set and we say, okay, our lower bound is negative 8.5. Do we have a number that is less than negative 8.5? No, we do not. Okay, so there is no lower outlier. Okay, then we do our upper boundary, which is right here. So we do Q3. What was our Q3? 9. Plus 1.5 times our IQR. Which is 19.5. Okay, keep in mind that was addition. It was 9 plus, not 9 minus. So be really careful there. Do we have a number that was bigger than 19.5 in our data set? No. So that means that there's no upper outlier. So we don't have an outlier in the data set. Sometimes that will happen. Which means our data set's normal. Okay, we're doing fine on time. All right, so we're going to do an actual question here with word problems. Let me fix something here. Okay, I want you to go ahead and put your data in order. Go ahead and put your data in order. Okay, see if you can do all 5 of those data points. Okay, so go ahead and do minimum, Q1, Q2, Q3, and max. I want you to see if you can find this on your own. You can check those up here when you get done. Okay, and you don't need to write the sentences yet, but if you think that you know what the sentences are, go ahead and go for it. Okay, don't let everybody else, while they're still working, keep working. But if you got those and you're ready to see if you can figure out the sentences, read the context of the problem, because we're talking about cookies here. See if you can do those sentences. Okay, for sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and show you the sentences. Obviously, min and max. Okay, she baked the least amount of cookies that she baked was 12. The most she baked was 58. But I want to look at the Q's. Okay, so Q1. Miss Aldrich had 20 or made 20 cookies. Sorry, she made 20 cookies or less 25% of the time. Okay, Q2 would be she made 26 cookies or less 50% of the time. And then she made 32 and a half cookies or less 75% of the time. So remember, it'll always be at that number, whatever your Q number is, or less. What's that? What's your question?
Yeah, I got 26 for the
So for Q2, which is our median, that's where you did this one. You might have just put up the wrong one, maybe. Because halfway between 24 and 28 is 26. Do you think you actually just put up the wrong line? Yeah. So then that should be 26. And then when you do these, you should do halfway between 16 and 24, which is 20. And halfway between 30 and 35 is a 13. Do you see maybe where you made that shape? There. Yeah. Okay. Now, the next steps. Okay, I think we might have time. Okay, what is the average number of cookies that Miss Aldrich bakes each weekend? How do we find the average of her whole data set? We add them all up. So go ahead and add them up. How many are there? 8. So I'm getting 28.375. You agree on that? You're on 28.4. Okay, so roughly, on average, she makes 28.4 cookies each week. Okay, what's the mode? What's the mode of our data? That's the one that happens most often. Is it 24? Yep, 24. Okay, which means that she had a couple weeks where she made the same amount of cookies. Okay, we're going to finish this. We're going to come back on Thursday. We're going to finish on Thursday.